Ranger offers over 1 million high-quality products, from motors and belts to switches and sensors, helping maintenance engineers keep production lines moving. Call, click, or stop by. Ranger, for the ones who get it done. Ranger offers over 1 million high-quality products, from motors and belts to switches and sensors, helping maintenance engineers keep production lines.
Hello, everyone.
Call, click, or stop by. Ranger, for the ones who get it done.
Hello, everyone. You are all welcome to AI walkthrough, and we are very sorry for keeping you guys waiting. We're having some technical issues, so in about 5 minutes time, we'll be starting with the program. So if you have the link, please make sure you share it on your various social media platforms so that your other friends can also join as well. Thank you very much. So yeah, we'll be starting in about 5 minutes time. In about 5 minutes time, we'll be starting the program. So if you have the link, please make sure you share it on your various social media platforms so that your friends can also join as well. Thank you very much. So yeah, we'll be starting in about 5 minutes time. In about 5 minutes time, we'll be starting the program. So if you have the link, please make sure you share it on your various platforms so that your friends can also join as well. So yeah, we'll be starting in about 5 minutes time. All right, so in about 3 minutes time, we'll be starting. So kindly make sure you share it on your various social media platforms so that your friends can also join as well. All right. Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on wherever you're watching from. You're all welcome to today's live workshop, and we'd want to use this opportunity to also thank you guys for joining this platform. So, today we are going to talk about something that is quite, becoming one of the most important skills that you would have to learn, and this is about the AI fluency. And for the next 90 minutes ahead of us, we are going to look at what AI actually is and then the framework that we will be following. So, without wasting much time, I'm already having my co-host with me here, which I would want them to unmute themselves and then begin to introduce themselves. So once we are done, then we can just hop on and start working on it. So I would first of all start with my brother Benjamin. And then once he's done, we can move on to Francis and then Thomas. So what I want you guys to do is to just introduce yourself and then the role that you play. All right.
Hi, thanks for the
Hi, thanks for
opportunity
the
and
opportunity and
thanks everyone
thanks
for
everyone for
joining. I'm Benjamin, a full stack AI software engineer at Team Linton AI. So over there, I'm literally responsible for architecturing our system, which is an AI native platform that we are currently building. So I'm happy to be on this platform to give my thoughts as to my day-to-day workflow. It's how I'm using AI to architecture the entire company, architecture from start all the way to finish. So I hope it will be an exciting journey for you all to know how other developers or other software engineers are utilizing AI in their work to their day-to-day activities. Yep. So thank you. Thanks for joining once
for
again.
joining us.
All right, Mr. Benjamin, thank you very much for the great introduction. So without much ado, we'll move on to Mr. Francis.
Um, Hi everyone. My name is Francis. I'm a PhD student and I'm currently working as a research scientist with a team called Reflective that we're working on solar radiation management or sunlight reflection methods. Essentially, just looking at ways we can um, work on combating global warming in the near future or in the next few decades to come. I'm joining here also as a learner, while also share my experience, especially the application of AI in the field of research. And so I'm also excited to see what we are going to learn in the next 90 minutes. I'll pass it on to Thomas.
Mm, um, Thank you very much. I think I'm coming. Hi everyone. Okay. Hi everyone. Thank you very much. I am Thomas Amuchemia, and I work as STEM AI specialist on project with Handshake, Telus, and RWS. My work mostly involves reviewing and improving AI generated responses, particularly in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I also evaluate technical accuracy, reasoning, and also clarity as well as instruction following. This helps in training AI. I am excited to be here or to be part of this team and to share some of my practical experience and also support in making this meeting successful. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Benjamin, Mr. Francis, and Mr. Thomas. Yeah, that was a very great introduction. So we are about to start, and I can see that we have few people joining us. So I would like us to take about 2 minutes Then all that we have to do is to make sure we share the link to the various social media platforms so that people can also join and then hear the good news of AI. So please make sure you share it on your WhatsApp, your Instagram, your Snapchat, your TikTok, and all the social media platforms that you know. And in about 2 minutes, we can hop in. So thank you very much for this introduction. And my name is Nathaniel. I'm also an AI and robotics educator at one of the schools in Colorado here in the US. So I'm also here to also share my experience about AI and then how to use AI fluency. Thank you very much. So please make sure you share the link on your various social media platforms, and we can start in about a minute or two. Thank you. All right, have 1 minute to start. Experience about all right. Can you guys hear me? Mr. Francis, Benjamin, Mr. Thomas. Okay, so if you guys can hear me, then it means that my audience can also hear as well. Yeah, so thank you once again for joining this wonderful platform. And we are about to start. And before we start, I would like to apologize for we being late. We were having some technical issues and we've been able to solve it now. So yeah, thank you very much for joining. So I'll just go ahead and then share my screen. So if you're able to see my screen, can you give me a thumbs up? The various co-hosts. Okay. Just a quick second. Let me put this screen here. All right. So I'm not able to see you guys, so yeah, I'll just be starting. All right. So once again, we would want to thank you guys for joining today's program, and we are going to talk about AI fluency, and we are going to use about 1 hour to do this since we've already spent like 26 minutes already. So yeah, so for the next 90 minutes ahead of us, we are going to look at what AI actually is, the different kinds of AI that we are using, and then the practical framework that we can take away anytime you are using any AI tool. So my goal is straightforward. And then by the time we finish, I would want us to take this framework away. And then we are also going to give you guys the slides and all the tools that we've been using here so that you guys can also work with it as well. Just a second. Are you guys able to see my face and then hear from me at the same time? I'm not seeing you guys, so maybe unless you talk, you have to unmute your mic. My video's co-hosts.
Yeah, you're good. Good.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
good.
All right. So here is going to be our roadmap for today. We are going to begin with what AI is, and then why today's AI feels so different from the software that we normally use. And then we will look at the main types of AI. Sorry, yeah, we are going to look at the main types of AI, and then the tools that we already know, and then for some of them I believe you've not even heard of it before. And then we would also look at the definitions of how to be fluent with AI. So anytime you hear about the word AI fluency, what comes to mind, and then why it really matters in this our world today. Okay, and at the heart of this section, we are also going to learn about the 4D framework. Okay, so we'll be talking about delegation, description, discernment, diligence. So these are going to be 4 frameworks that we'll be talking about. And then after that, a real example prompt that you can also copy and then use. So you just have to feel free. And if you have your notebook and then your pen, just make sure you jot some things down. And the last part is going to be hands-on, and then we are also going to share our experience. All right. So let's start with the basics. Anytime you hear about the word AI, what comes to mind? Okay, so AI stands for artificial intelligence, and it is a technology that is able to do things we usually think of needing. I mean, that we usually think of doing as human. Okay, so it is more like it is just trying to mimic the brain of a human being. Okay, so artificial intelligence is just a technology that is able to do things that human beings are supposed to do. So something like understanding language, being able to spot like various patterns, reasoning, and also be able to create new content. Okay, so the first thing that you would have to know is that modern AI learns from examples. So instead of we trying to follow rules by hand, it picks up the modern patterns from huge amount of data. And then the second thing is it is able to create. So anytime you use tools like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, DeepSeek, and all these generative AI tools, what we can see is that it is able to produce response in the form of a text, image, and also a code by just giving it a simple, plain language. And then the third one is it can also go wrong, right? So AI predicts most likely answer. It can sound completely confident and still be incorrect. So that is why all the way through you would have to stay as the judge. Okay, so that is the brief definition of artificial intelligence. And then why today's AI feels different. Okay, so let me just go here. So you might be wondering why today's AI feels so different from the various softwares we have always been using. Okay, so here is the big shift. The traditional softwares were able to follow a pre-written rules. Okay, so the same input always gives the exact same outputs, and that's exactly what it was programmed to do. So reliably, but in a great form, the generative AI here is different. Okay, so it is able to learn from enormous amount of data. In other words, it is able to understand our everyday language, and it is very flexible. And then let me just go back a bit. It is able to do things that even goes beyond human understanding. So that is the reason why today's AI feels so different. Okay, so forgive me that I'm rushing. We are out of time, so yeah, a time will come that I'll just slow down and then we can have a discussion with my host. Okay, so let's move on to the main types of AI. So according to research, we have three types of AI. So we have the first one to be the generative AI. We have the second one to be the agentic AI. And then we have the third one to be the predictive AI. Okay. So these are buzzwords that we also know is that generative AI makes things. Okay, it creates new text, images like audios, and then code. That is your Chat GPT, your Claude, your Gemini, and all other tools that you guys have been using. But I think out of this, the most popular one is the Chat GPT and then Claude, right? And also we also have the second one to be the agentic AI. So the agentic AI does things. So that is the difference between the generative AI and then the agentic AI. So the AI makes things, whilst the agentic AI does things. So for the generative AI, it plans steps and uses tools to finish your tasks more independently, like an assistant that goes off and researches um, something, so okay, run a task for you. Okay, so that is the two difference between the generative AI and then the agentic AI. So the last one is going to be the predictive AI. Okay, so this one is kind of different from the generative AI and then the agentic AI. So for the predictive AI, it is able to see what is actually coming. So we already made mention that generative AI is able to make things, okay, and then the agentic AI is able to do things. So for the predictive AI, it is able to see what is coming. So all that is, I mean, it's able to do here is it is able to find patterns in data to forecast the likely outcome, like a fraud alert or the recommendation you get from Netflix. Okay, so these are all examples of how we can use predictive AI. So these are the main types of AI that we have. So we have the first one to be the generative AI, we have the second to be the agentic, and then we have the last one to be the predictive AI. And we have differences. So as I already mentioned, the generative AI is able to make things possible, where it is able to create new text, image, and then code as well. And then the agentic AI does things. And then the last one, which is the predictive AI, is able to see things. Okay. So these are the main types of AI that we have. Okay. Just a second. All right. So we have thousands of tools in this world. Okay, thousands of AI tools in this world, and I'll just go ahead and then just list everything here. So we have several tools that we can use as humans, and the most popular ones that we normally hear of is ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. And now that we've been able to know the three types of AI, we are able to distinguish between these types. So we have the first one to be the generative AI. So if you take a look at the screen, we have these to be some of the examples of the generative AI tools that we use. So we have ChatGPT, we have Claude, we have Gemini, we have Microsoft Copilot, and etc. etc. And then if you take a look at the generative AI, sorry, the agentic AI, the one that is able to act on your behalf, we have examples to be Manus, we have GenSpark, we have Cursor, we have Cloud Code, we have QAI, and then what have you. So it is unlimited. So you can get to know these various types as well. And then the last one here, which is the predictive AI, we made mention that it is able to predict something. So we have these tools. So the tool can be ChatGPT, or in the general sense, it can be a generative AI or an agentic AI being built into an application, which is able to predict something. So those are the examples of the predictive AI. So for example, if you are watching Netflix, if you are playing music on Spotify, they are able to recommend music for you or videos for you based on what you want. So these are AI working inside these tools. Okay, so these are some of the examples that we can know as we move forward. Okay, and as I already mentioned, we have thousands of AI tools that we can also use as well. Okay, so I don't know if my co-host can also add something, yeah, before we move on.
Yeah, to add on to the agentic AI, mostly it's based on your use case. If, let's say, you are somebody that is coding heavy, mostly you would want to go with the agentic AI frameworks. But then if you're somebody that is more into writing or putting pieces together or much more of content creation, you could focus more on these generative AI to literally help expand whatever ideas that you have. So mostly Claude and ChatGPT in terms of writing and generating content, in terms of research paper write up, mostly Cloud is known to be much more advanced or ahead of GPT. But then all these tools, depending on how you kind of build your harness around them, they're able to serve their use cases. I think I've tried Mistral AI before, which is also super okay. And also Grook, it's also good in terms of any long chain operational tasks that you want to do with them. So depending on your use case, you can either try and depend on just the generative AI for writing, but then for more of coding, mostly it's either Cloud Desktop or Keza AI to actually help in your agentic AI orchestration. So, yep.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
thank you
to
very much.
add up
Oh, sorry.
the predictive AIs,
Predictive AIs.
thing is these ones are normally
These ones
trained
are
on
normally trained on
essentially your
essentially your
user input or you, the user, that kind of things that you do. So every day you're going through your stuff, I mean, using certain apps and things on the internet. So these predictive AIs are normally trained on essentially gathering your data set or your data, anything about you, and then it quietly or silently, I mean, gives you suggestions and other things. And so sometimes you might probably be doing something on your phone, but then you pick your laptop that you have the same logins, you share the same data and everything in there. These are some of the tools that they use to sort of like recommend stuff based on things that either you searched before, you've watched before, listened to, talked about, and all those things.
all those
So
things.
that's a
So that's
quiet
a quiet
tool that
tool
works in the
that works in
background
the
mostly.
background mostly.
But I think
But I
everyone
think
is quite
everyone is
familiar
quite
with
familiar with
the other apps
the other apps
that has been
that
listed,
has been
that has
listed
been
that
listed
has
on
been
the
listed on the
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint.
That's what I
Yeah,
wanted to
That's what
add
I
to
wanted
the
to add to
predictive AI.
yeah.
okay, yeah, thank you very much. And based on what my co-host just said, we are now moving from generative AI to a more agentic AI. Okay, so a time will come that even though you'll be using ChatGPT or you'll be using Gemini or you'll be using Claude, but behind the scenes you'll be using generative AI because that is where most of the AI stuffs are moving to right now. Okay, so let me move to the next slide. Okay, okay, are we able to see my screen? I'm not able to see you guys, so unless you respond.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Okay, so now let's move on to the next point. That is how every AI interaction works. Okay, so this brings us to the simplest, most important idea in this whole section. Okay, so no matter which AI tool that you are using, it is able to interact or run in three steps. Okay, in these three same steps. So we have the first one here. Let me point my mouse over here. So we have the first one to be the input, and then we have the second one to be the processing, and then we have the last one to be the output. Okay, so if you are okay with these like basic IT stuffs, you know the input, the processing, and then the output devices. So we are trying to apply the same concept over here. So first we have the input. So this is your prompt, okay? So anytime you open, for example, ChatGPT, and then you type in any text or try to upload any context or file that you give, you are trying to input or you are trying to feed the AI with something, okay? You are trying to feed the AI with your brain. In other words, you're also trying to feed the AI with the information that you have. And then once you are done feeding the AI with the information that you have, then we move on to the next step, which is the process. So the processing step is the AI itself. Okay. So the AI is able to read your input and then be able to generate the most useful response it can based on the prompt that you give to the AI. Okay. Now, here is the key point. These stars here, we normally call it loops. Okay. So this is what I mean by the loop. You look at the output here, okay, you improve your input and then you go again, because we have a saying that better input gives better output. Okay, so it is not like a one-time process. Anytime you give your input or anytime you give your prompt to ChatGPT or any AI tool that you use, if it gives you the response, you would have to give it an input again to be able to make sure you have a better output. So a better input gives you a better output. But these are the three ways that, irrespective of the AI tool that you use, they are able to interact or how they works. We have the input, we have the processing, and then we have the output. Okay, so I know that most of you guys have used ChatGPT or any of the AI tools, but I know that the most popular tool that we can speak of is the ChatGPT, right? So anytime you prompt or you type in something, or anytime you try to upload a document, you are just trying to feed the AI with your input. And then once you are done and then you press your enter, all that the AI does is to process the information and then goes back to the books or the data that it has been able to learn, and then find the patterns and then give you the outcome in the form of a response. Okay, so these are the three steps that we should know about how every AI interaction works. Okay, and that brings us to the main topic, AI fluency. So now let's name it. What is AI fluency? Okay, so AI fluency, based on the definition from Google and then Claude, it is the ability to work with AI systems in a way that is efficient, um, effective, ethical, and then safe to use. Okay, and here is the reassuring part. You do not have to know how to code, or sorry, let me just go back. Uh, all right. So you do not know, I mean, there is no need for you to know how to code before you can learn AI. Okay. And you don't need to understand how these models work on the inside. So these are practical skills that anyone can learn. Okay. So a bit like learning to breathe a good college. Okay. So it all boils down to these four words. We have the effectiveness, how efficient you can use it, how ethical you can use, and then how safe you can use the AI. So anytime you hear about the word AI fluency, it is just we human beings trying to collaborate with AI to be able to produce a system or an outcome in an effective, efficient, ethical, and then safe way. Okay, so that is the quick definition of AI fluency. Okay, so the effectiveness, the how ethical it can be, how efficient, and then how safe it can be is what we are talking about. So we are just going to, based on these four keywords, to move on to the various frameworks that we have. Okay, so AI fluency, I'm going to say it multiple times so that it will just stick to just be able to stick in our brains. Okay, so AI fluency is the ability to work with AI in a way that is effective, that is efficient, ethical, and then safe to use. Okay, so being effective here means that you get the result that is actually useful. Okay, that is the AI being effective. And then the efficient here means that you get there with less time and effort. So you are able to generate the output that you want in a less time and then less effort. And then the ethical way here is you work in ways that is fair and also, let's say, honest as well. Okay. And then the last one, which is the safe way, is you trying to avoid the harm and then protect people's privacy and then data. So that is the basic definition of AI fluency. Okay. So let me move to the next slide. Okay. So why do we need to be fluent in AI, especially in our days? Okay, so why do we need AI fluency? Okay, why do we need like to be fluent in AI, and what does it mean for us to be fluent in AI? Okay, does it really matter? The answer is yes, because we are living in a world that we do everything with AI. Okay, so AI is reshaping how we are able to communicate, how we are able to create things, how we are able to learn, and then how we are able to solve problems in both our work and then in our personal life. Okay, so many of us here, we are having various AI tools on our laptop. We are having ChatGPT, we are having Gemini, we are having Claude on our laptops, and other virtual collaborators that we can use. But we just use it for writing, we use it for brainstorming, we use it for researching, and also to be able to make good decisions and much more. But the thing is, you would have to learn how to be fluent to be able to use these tools effectively and then efficiently. But here's the thing, having these powerful systems or having these powerful AI tools doesn't automatically mean we know how to make the most out of them. Or in other words, having these tools doesn't mean we know how to engage with them responsibly. Okay, so you can think about a time that you got an unexpected response from AI and then you weren't sure how to proceed. Okay, so you were very frustrated. Okay, and also you can also think about when you were struggling to explain exactly what you need to the AI, and then you left like the interaction and then you were feeling frustrated. Okay, and then you can also think about the times that you shared an information that you were not supposed to share. So for example, your social security number and then your private information. Okay, so just think about those times that you share those information to the AI. The reason is because you were not fluent with it, you were not informed of the stuff that this AI can do. Okay, so how do we go beyond just knowing a few prompt tricks to developing a thoughtful and response approach that will continue to serve in this AI evolving world? So how do we do that? And one thing that I would also want to say is that the fact that you have 10 best prompts doesn't mean you are going to be fluent in AI. So that is one thing that you should also take into consideration. Okay, so I know that for some of you guys, you have this prompt that you are always reserving. Okay, so you are just copying a prompt from somewhere, but you don't actually understand how the prompt is working behind the scenes. So the fact that you are having these prompts doesn't automatically make you like an AI fluent person. Okay, so we'll move on to the next slide, and then before we move on to how we actually work with I would want my co-host to also say something, okay, about what we've been able to say so far.
All right, so probably I could go first. So I think for me, my day-to-day usage of AI is either one, if I'm at my workplace, I'm using it for coding task, and if I'm home, I'm literally using it for my research work. So I would say that I've been able to comfortably use Claude to literally publish papers within the domain, and it's all based on how you are able to prompt. So you take prompts as much more of an information that you want somebody to understand. So an example, if you're in a classroom and you want to ask a question to your teacher on a particular topic that the teacher is currently teaching on, you would ask it in a way that the teacher will be able to understand and then give you a response to that particular question. So it's the same way. A better prompt literally results in a better output, because then if you're able to tell the AI that I want to research on, let's say, how models operate, the AI will be able to infer from that understanding that, okay, the user is literally referring to how to understand how models operate. And then based on that particular prompt, it will be able to query resources around that particular prompt and then give it to you as an output or a response. So prompting, initially we started with the early phase of AI, which was GPT, where if you're a developer, you prompt, it gives you a set of code, and then you copy that set of code and then paste it into your IDE. But now it's much more of everything is enclosed in a loop where you prompt the AI, okay, now in this part of the code, I want to change X part of it. And then the AI picks that prompt, goes through its database or wherever it's processing it from, and then does that particular thing that you prompted it to do as its output. So much more of, if you prompt the AI to do something that you are not really expecting it to do, it would come out with an output that you are not really expecting. So it's much more of a better prompt leads to a better output. So mostly try and explain with the new models that are in looking at Opus 5 or 4.8, you don't really have to give a detailed explanation of what you are doing, but then you need to have a way that you're able to steer the AI in a direction that you actually feel comfortably. If you are supposed to ask a normal human being that, hey, how do I do XYZ? The normal human being should be able to understand that this is what you want, and then we'll be able to give you the exact desired output that you want. So what I'll leave you here is a better prompt leads to a better output, and or mostly treat AI as more of your teacher that you are asking clear questions to in order to get clear responses.
Right. Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Benjamin. Yeah, I just love your response. Yeah, so AI is really moving fast, and then all that we have to do here is to make sure we are fluent with AI. Okay, so now let's move on to the next slide. Let me just click here. Okay, so as I already mentioned, anytime you hear about the word AI fluency, it is not just about being a technical expert or trying to memorize the 10 best prompts for whatever trend that it has for the month. Okay, so it is about developing a collection of practical skills, knowledge, insight, and then values that is able to reinforce each other and then adapt as the technology changes. Okay, so AI fluency means interacting with AI systems in a way that is effective, efficient, ethical, and then safe to use. Okay, so in other words, we are just trying to really maximize what we get out of our interactions with AI without wasting time and then energy, and also we are able to use it in an honest and then a responsible way that is able to protect the privacy of people and others. Okay, so based on that, there are three main ways that people interact or use AI. Okay, so the three main ways that people are able to interact with AI, and understanding these modes will be able to help you to see why AI fluency needs to go beyond simple prompt engineering. Okay, so we have the first one here to be the automation. Okay, so that is going to be the first one. So AI, anytime you hear about the word automation, it means that the AI does the work for you, following explicit instructions from you, the owner. Okay, so anytime you hear about the word automation, so the AI is able to do the work for you based on the instructions or the prompts that you give to the AI. So an example here can be asking the AI to summarize a document or to draft an email or to be able to create an image for you and so on. So this one here is able to work well when you have a clear outcome in mind. Okay, it is able to work well when you know what you are doing. So anytime, so for example, if you want to summarize a document and then you actually know what you want, okay, you always go by the automation side. Okay, so that one, all that you have to do here is to give the prompt or the instructions to AI, and then the AI will do the work for you following your instructions. And this one can also be very, very challenging when you are not quite sure yet what you're actually looking for. So I think that is what most people do. So they don't know what they are doing, and all that they will do here is to upload, let's say, their assignment or their Excel sheet to AI, and then they'll just type in, "Do this work for me." It doesn't work that way. And once you are working with automation, you would have to explicitly relay your instructions to the AI, and based on your instructions, the AI will be able to do the work for you. Okay, so that is going to be the first one. The second one is what we call the augmentation, and for this one, you, the user, and then the AI, you are able to work together. Okay, so you and then the AI collaboratively work together. Okay, so the AI isn't treated as a machine to automate a task. Okay, instead, it becomes more like a creative thinking and then a problem solving partner. So anytime you are stuck with your research, or anytime you are doing something very significant and then you don't know, your way around it, you would have to use augmentation instead of the automation. And mind you, we already mentioned that for the automation, you would have to make sure you really know what you are doing before you can go with the automation step. But if you don't know what you are doing, so for example, if you are just trying to experiment with something, and then along the way you got stuck, all that you have to do here is to use the AI to be able to collaborate with you, to be able to try to formulate your thoughts on the complex research topic or anything that you are doing, to be able to land at a place that you'll be able to deduce the information from the AI and then move on from that. Okay, so the second one, as we already mentioned, is the augmentation. That is you and then AI trying to work together to be able to achieve a purpose. And this approach also works best when solutions aren't straightforward and then you need a space to be able to explore and then experiment. Then we have the last one here to be the agency. So for the agency, it is kind of different from the first two. So the agency works independently on your behalf. So for example, you might set up an AI assistant to be able to categorize your incoming emails by topic or agency, or maybe beginning to draft responses to the urgent ones. Okay, so the key idea here for the agency is that rather than trying to define a specific actions, you are establishing the AI's knowledge and behavior patterns. Okay, so you become less like a script writer giving exact directions, and then more like a director setting a vision for your company. Okay, so that is how the agency work. So in summary, the automation here, the AI does the work for you based on the instructions that you give to the AI, and then the augmentation, you and the AI work together to be able to achieve something purposeful. And then we have the last one here to be the agency, where the AI works independently on your behalf. Okay, so one thing that I would want us to know here is, even though these are the three ways that people use AI, but let me just go. Okay, so these are the three ways that people use AI. But one thing that I would want us to know is that none of these approaches are better than the other. Okay, so they serve different purposes and then excel in different situations. So, in fact, you might be using all of these three in a single project. So, depending on how complex the project is, you might be using automation, augmentation, and then the agency in your project. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so one is not better than the other. But according to research, many people are stuck with the automation. Okay, all that they do here is to treat, for example, they treat ChatGPT as a simple chat box. So all that they do is to upload an image, or they upload their homework or any documents, and then they just ask the AI to do it. So according to research, anytime you try to use the automation, you are not using up to the maximum capabilities of the AI. Okay, so based on the research, if you are able to combine augmentation and then agency, it is able to give you the best response. It is able to give you the best response that you want. Okay, so according to research, that is what they are saying. So most of us are stuck with using the automation method, which is good, but it doesn't give you like the best response. But if you are able to augment with AI, if you are able to try the agency method, you'll be able to get the most out of the AI. Okay, so understanding these differences makes us recognize that AI isn't just a tool. Okay, it is a technology that can also act as a tool, but also serve as a medium or as a co-partner. Okay, to be able to create something. And one thing is that irrespective of the ways that you engage with AI, whether you are using the automation method, whether you are using the augmentation, or whether you are using the agency, there are four key areas of competence that you would have to develop and then master. Okay, so that is going to be the core framework that we are going to learn in the next slides. Okay, so whether you are using automation, whether you are using augmentation, whether you are using the agency method, you would have to know these four key areas of competence in order to be able to develop and then master your AI fluency system. Okay, and by the way, if you have any questions, you can just type it in the chat box, and then we'll be able to answer it for you. Okay. All right. So before we move on to the 4D framework, which is going to be the four key areas of competence to be able to develop and then master to be able to write a good prompt. Um, do you guys have any questions? If you have any questions, please make sure you type it in the chat box, and then we will be able to answer it for you. Okay. Mr. Francis, Mr. Thomas, Mr. Benjamin, do you guys have something to add? Yeah, sorry that I'm putting you guys on the spot. But yeah.
Yeah, with
Yeah,
respect
with
to
respect to
automation,
automation,
what I would
what I would
say,
say,
I mean, not to sort
not
of
to
like
sort
break
of like
things
break
to you,
things with
but
you, but
you've, you've essentially
you've
covered
essentially
everything.
covered everything.
In simple
In
terms,
simple
it's just
terms, just
making
making
sure.
sure.
I mean, you do
I mean,
not
you do
automate
not
stuff
automate
if you
stuff
have
if
no
you
idea
have
what
no
you're
idea
doing.
what you're doing.
So
So
you have
you
to
have to
understand the
understand
task
the
that you're
task that
doing.
you're
You
doing.
don't
You
necessarily
don't
have to
necessarily have to
know
know
or
or
expect,
expect,
the
the
exact
exact
results, but you have
results,
to
but
have a
you have
clear
to have a
idea of
clear idea of
how the
how
results
the
would look
results
like.
would look like.
And so you
And so
can't
you
just
can't
pick
just
up and delegate a task
delegate a
to
task to
someone that you
someone
don't
that you
even
don't
know
know
what to
what to
expect from them.
expect from them.
So
Right.
it's
So it's
essentially just
essentially just
sending
sending
someone to go
someone to
get you
go get
something,
you
and they go
something, and they
get you
go
that
get
same
you
thing
that
that
same
you
thing
want.
that you want.
So that's
So
how
that's
the
how the
automation
automation
works.
works.
With the
With the
augmentation,
augmentation,
it's
it's
something that we
something that we
do
do
without
without
knowing.
knowing.
Because
Because
sometimes, I mean, you
sometimes,
give
I
it
mean, you give it
a certain prompt,
certain
it works,
prompts,
and
it
then
works, and then
it comes
it
back and
comes
then you're
back,
like,
and then
okay,
you're like,
no,
okay,
this is
no,
not. So
this is not.
you
So
start
you
going back
start
and
going
forth with
back and
that,
forth with that,
sort of like trying
sort
to
of like
tune
trying to
it
tune it
to
Yeah.
the right
the right
thinking frame that you want
thinking
it to
frame
be.
that you want it to be.
So that's what I
So
mean.
that's what I
We
mean.
normally
We
do
normally
without
do without
realizing. So
realizing.
these are
So
things
these are
that,
things that,
like you rightfully
like you
said,
rightfully said,
we using them
using
without
them without like
without thinking
without
about
thinking about
what exactly
what
we've been
exactly
doing.
we've been.
We use
We
them
use them
unknowingly,
unknowingly.
whether
Whether
we have a
we
clear
have
idea
a
of what
clear
we're
idea of
doing
what
or
we're
not,
doing
but
or not,
indirectly
but
we've been
indirectly
using
we've been
them
using
in the background.
the background.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. So,
One that can you
oh,
always mute when someone is talking so that it doesn't echo to the live feed?
oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. Thank you very much. All right. So now that we know the definition of AI fluency, and then the various ways that we can interact with AI to be able to get a good response. And then we also know the three ways that we like human beings mostly use AI, which is the automation, augmentation, and then the agency. We are now moving on to the 4D framework. And most of your prompt engineering skills relies on this one. Okay, so the 4D framework, whether you are using automation, whether you are using augmentation, whether you are using agency, you would have to understand this 4D framework. Okay, so this is the heart of the 4D framework. So no, as I already mentioned, no matter how you are working with AI, these are going to be the four skills that makes all the difference. Okay, so I'll first of all begin with the first D. Okay, so we have the first D to be the delegation. Okay, so anytime you hear about the word delegation, um, it means, in simply terms, you are just trying to divide your work between yourself and then artificial intelligence. Okay, so that is the simple terms about the delegation. You try to divide the work between you yourself and then the AI. Okay, and then we have the second one to be the description. So for the description, it just talks about how we can clearly communicate with AI systems. And then we have the last one here to be the discernment. So for the discernment, you are going to be the judge. Okay, so based on the response that you get from AI, you are going to be the judge. Okay, so all that you have to do is to make sure you judge it for, is the response that AI giving to me good? Is there something that I would have to iterate before I move on? So that is what we call the discernment. And then we have the last one to be diligence. So for the diligence, in a nutshell, you are just trying to own the AI work, that's, I mean, the response that the AI has been able to give to you, and then you have to make sure that you cite it in anywhere that you are using the AI, and then you also have to make sure you protect the privacy of the people. So these are the 4D framework that we are going to explore in details. Okay, so these are going to be the 4D frameworks. We have the delegation, we have description, we have discernment, and then we have diligence. So let's move on to the first one so that we can explore very well. So the first one is going to be the delegation. Okay, and for the delegation, this one is about the big picture. Okay, so deciding whether to use AI at all and which part to keep for yourself. Okay, so you are going to divide the work between you and then artificial intelligence. And anytime you hear about the word delegation in AI fluency courses, the delegation has been divided into three parts. Okay, so we have the first one here to be the problem awareness, we have the second one to be the platform awareness, and then we have the last one to be task delegation. So for the delegation, we have three subtrees. We have the problem awareness, we have the platform awareness, and then we have the task delegation. So I will start explaining the problem awareness. So anytime you are given an assignment, I'm just trying to use a more practical terms. So anytime you have been given an assignment or a research to do, okay, before you even give your work to AI, you would have to make sure you understand the goal that you are trying to achieve. Okay, so most of us, anytime we give us assignments, all that we have to do is to upload the document to AI, and then we just have to type, solve this for me. It doesn't work that way. So one thing is, AI cannot read your mind. Okay, so in order for you to have a good delegation, you would have to make sure you write all the stuff that is in your mind. You feed it with the AI. Okay, so you have to be clear about your goals and then what a good result actually looks to you. So that is going to be the problem. So what problem are you trying to solve in the first place? Okay, so anytime you want to use AI, don't just start typing, just think of it. What problem am I trying, am I trying to solve? What is my goal? At the end, what do I want to achieve? So once you are able to get this information down, then you can start typing into the AI input field. Okay. And one thing is that you have to be an expert in your field to be able to delegate well. So if you are not expert in your field, you'll not be able to know the problem that you are solving. You'll not be able to know the goal that you want to achieve at the end. So any response that AI gives to you, you just take it like that. Whether it is wrong, whether it is right, you can just take it like that. But it doesn't work that way. So before you even start typing in your prompt, the first thing that you'd have to do is to make sure you sit down and then write the problem that you are trying to solve, the goal that you are trying to achieve, and then what a good result actually looks like to you before you even start typing something inside the input field for the AI. So that is the problem awareness. So you have to know the type of problem that you are trying to solve and then the goal that you would want to achieve at the end. And then the second one here is the platform awareness. So we all know that different platforms, we use different platforms to be able to obtain different tax results. Okay. So for example, if you want to use an AI to write code, you would have to use Cloud Code. Okay. So the reason is because according to researchers, they said Cloud Code and then Kimi K3 is also is very good at coding. If you want a long response, you would have to use the Claude. Okay, if you want to generate a good image, you'd have to use ChatGPT Image Generator 2.0. Okay, so you'd have to understand the platform that you are using. So just don't say that, oh, because most people are using ChatGPT, all the work that I'm going to do, I'm just going to delegate the work to ChatGPT to do the work for you. If you do that, you are going to get a bad response. Okay, so you have to understand. So before you even start using the right AI, the first thing that you'd have to do, as we've already mentioned, is to make sure you understand your problem and then you have in mind the goal that you would want to achieve. So that is going to be the first one. And then once you are done solving that one, you would have to choose the AI tool that you are going to use to be able to achieve this particular purpose. Don't just use ChatGPT because most people are using it. Don't just use Claude because you think most people are using it. Based on the kind of problem that you are having, it is going to, rechannel you to the platform that you are going to use. So you should be aware of the AI tool that you are using. So for example, if you want to watch a video from YouTube and then you copy, let's say if you have like a 1 hour or 2 hours tutorials on YouTube that you would want to watch and you feel lazy to watch it, can you know the AI tool that will be able to help you to transcribe everything for you to be able to see what is going on? If you try to use ChatGPT, ChatGPT cannot read the video transcription for you. So the best tool that you can use is to use the Gemini. Because Gemini is connected to YouTube directly, you'll be able to do it and then do it well. So once you copy the link and then paste it inside Gemini, you'll be able to generate the transcription for that particular video. If you use Claude AI, Claude cannot transcribe the video for you because it doesn't have that video watch capability. So you have to be aware of the platform that you are using. Okay, so that is it about the platform awareness. And then the last one is going to be the task delegation. So one thing that you should also know is anytime you are being given a task, you should be able to decide the work that you will do and then the work that AI also can do. Don't give the work to AI to just do the work for you. If you do that, it might not give you the response that you want. So anytime you are being given a work, you have to make sure you task delegate it properly. You would have to think, can I do the work on my own? Can AI do the work for me? Or can we work together to be able to achieve this purpose? Don't just give the work to AI because you know that, oh, AI can do the work for you. So for example, if you're having like a math problem, okay, if they give you like a math problem for you to solve, you should be able to understand the process involved. Okay, even though you might not know the final answer. If you give the work to AI without you yourself understanding AI will do, its best to give you the response that you want. But one thing is, if it gives you the response that you want, is it the one that the teacher wants or what you want? So that is the question that you should also ask yourself. So before you even start typing something, you would have to make sure, first of all, you write down the problem that you are trying to solve, you write the goal that you are trying to achieve, and then what a good result actually looks like to you. So once you've been able to achieve that, then the next one is to choose the platform that you would want to work with. Don't just use ChatGPT because ChatGPT is one of the most popular AI tools in the world. Don't just use Claude because you want to use it, or like that is what people are talking about. You have to make sure you understand the platform that you are using, the pros and then the cons before you start working with it. And then once you are done, what you'd want to do here is to make sure you delegate the tasks properly. So what you can do here is either you choose to do the work on your own, or you collaborate with AI to do the work, or you can also channel the work to AI to do it for you from A to Z. So depending on the kind of problem that you are having, you'll be able to work on your own, or you'll be able to have a good collaboration with AI, or you'll be able to you'll be able to let the AI do the work for you. Okay. So the key thing about this delegation here is you would have to be an expert in your field. So if you're not an expert in your field, you cannot even solve the problem at the first place. Okay. So you have to make sure you know what you are doing. It is different from anytime you want to augment with AI. Even if you want to augment with AI, you have to make sure that you are expert in your field, so that if AI is doing something wrong, you'll be able to channel it to the right place. Okay. So that is it about the delegation. Let's move on to the next one. So the next one is going to be the description. So how do we communicate with AI systems? Okay, and that is going to be the second D. And for this description, I would say that this is the core skills that you'd have to know, because anytime you want to communicate with AI, you would have to either write something and then upload a context in the form of an image or a document. Okay, so description here is very important. So once you've been able to delegate the task, once you've been able to know that, okay, I want the AI to do the work for me, or I want to collaborate with AI to be able to achieve this result, the next one is to make sure you have a good description. And according to research based on Anthropic and then Google, they were able to come up with the three subtrees for the description. We have the first one to be the product description, the second one to be the process description, then we have the third one to be the performance description. Okay, so these are the three subcategories of the description method, or the second D in the 4D framework. Okay, so the product description here says what you want, and then the format, and then the length of your contest, and basically your audience. So anytime you start typing your text inside your ChatGPT prompt or any AI tool prompt, you have to think about the format. You'd have to think about your audience, or who it is for, and then the content itself. Okay, don't just start typing, oh, solve this equation for me, do this for me, write this email for me. If you do that, it is going to give you a vague response. So that is one thing that we should also take into consideration. So you'd have to make sure you describe the product that you want. So in this case, the product here means the end goal that you would want the AI to do for you. So you'd have to describe the kind of outputs that you want. In other words, the format that you want, the context, and then the audience that you are taking into consideration. So that is it about the product description. And then the second one here is going to be the performance description. So how do I even explain this for you to understand? So how the AI should act, okay, in terms of the role, in terms of like the tone, and then the style of writing. Okay, so that is one thing that you should also know. So like in terms of like how the AI should go in terms of like steps, and then in terms of how it should think for you. So these are the stuff that you should also take into consideration. And one thing is for the process description, even though you have a core idea of what you want the AI to do for you, but most of the times AI does the work for you. So, for example, if you are using Claude Code, anytime you are using Claude Code or um, DeepSeek, yeah, DeepSeek. I don't know about ChatGPT. Maybe Ben or Francis or Thomas can correct me on this. But anytime you are using a tool like Claude Code or DeepSeek, once you press the enter, okay, after you've given the AI your prompt, and then you press the enter, you'll be able to see the reasoning behind what the AI is trying to produce for you. Okay, you are able to see like the reason step by step, the process involved in achieving the results that you want. So that is it for the process description. So even though the AI can reason for you to be able to get the good results, but you should be able to also have in mind some steps involved for the AI to be able to achieve the performance. Okay, and then the last one is going to be the performance description. So the performance description here is going to be how the AI should act. Okay, like how the AI should perform. Okay, the style that you want, like how you want the AI to perform this description for you. So one thing is that a good prompt covers three things. Okay, a good prompt covers three things. So we have the first one is to be what you want. Okay, so what do you want the AI to do for you? And then how to do it. In other words, how do you want the AI to do this work for you? And then the last one is who the AI should be. Okay, so if you are a senior software engineer and then you've been given a task to solve, anytime you go to ChatGPT, you should make sure you type in, oh, I am a senior software engineer. So once you type in this, the AI is able to know that, oh, all the response that it should give you should be related to the software field. But if you just give it like the code and they be like solve it, it might not use the software engineering principles, okay, or it might not use the good model that software engineers use to be able to solve problems. So anytime you are working with AI, just think of this one: what you want, how you want the AI to do it, and then who the AI should be. If you don't give it those three things, it is going to act vague on your behalf. It is going to give you like any response that it gets. Okay, so you should think of this one as building a bridge between what it is in your head and then what the AI can do. So this description part is very, very, very important. Okay, it is very, very important because this is where you are able to describe your problem and then everything that you want the AI to do for you. And as I already mentioned, AI cannot think for you. So because AI cannot think for you, you would have to make sure that everything that is in your head, you have to give it to the AI. If you don't do that, it is not going to give you the response that you want. Okay, so that is it about the description. And then we have the last one. Hey, sorry, the third one. Yeah, the third one to be the discernment. Okay, so the third D is the discernment. Okay, so in this way, how you are able to evaluate or how you are able to judge the response that AI gives to you. Okay, in other words, you are thoughtfully evaluating what you get back. Okay, and again, just as we have three trees for the delegation, the description, we also have the same thing for the discernment. So for the discernment and then the description, it is very similar. We have the product discernment, we have the process discernment, and then we have the performance discernment. So if we take a look back at what we said about the description, we have the product description, process description, and then we have the performance description. So that is where you are able to write your thought process to AI to be able to give you the response. Now, for the discernment, you are just trying to evaluate the response from the AI based on your description. So you are going to follow these same three steps. You are going to follow the process, the product discernment, the process discernment, and then the performance discernment to be able to know if the AI is doing the right thing based on the response that you give to the AI. So the product discernment here is to answer these questions. So the first one is that once the AI gives you the response, Don't just copy and then paste it and then submit the work. If you do that, you are doing the wrong thing. You would have to make sure you read through and then answer these kind of questions. So, is the answer that the AI giving to you correct? Is it a quality result? Is it good for you to be able to submit this one? So that is it for the product discernment. And then for the process discernment, you'd have to ask yourself these questions. How do I even put this one? The AI reason well, and then was it able to take a sensible approach? Yeah, so that is going to be the process discernment. So your process description that you give to AI, was it able to follow it well? Was it able to reason it with you? Was it able to take a sensible approach? And then the last one here is going to be the performance description. So for that one, you can ask yourself these questions like, did the AI behaved and communicated well the whole time? Is there something that we can change? Is there something that we can do before we take this one to be the final answer? So the line to remember here is that read AI output like editors, okay, not like a reader. So just have this one in mind. You have to read the response that AI gives to you as you are the editor, not like just like normal reader. Okay, so you have to be an editor rather than being a reader. You would always have to check before you trust. For some of us, we would have to wait till like the deadline, and then any response that the AI gives to us, you just copy and then paste into the system, and then does it. It shouldn't be that way. Okay, you have to always check before you do it, because the AI can be confident and then be wrong at the same time. Okay, and the best way for you to check is to use the discernment product over here. Okay, so for you to be able to discern and know that the AI is doing something right or wrong, you'd have to use this approach for the discernment. Okay, and then the last 4D, okay, the last D here is going to be diligence. So anytime you hear about diligence in AI fluency, in simply terms, it is just taking responsibility. Okay, so this is the ethical and then safety side of the AI. Okay, so for this one too, it is having three trees. We have the first one to be the creation diligence, we have the transparency diligence, and then we have the deployment diligence. So for the creation diligence, in simply terms, you are just trying to work with care. Okay, you are just trying to make sure the information that you are giving to ChatGPT doesn't contain any PIP information. It doesn't contain an information that if it goes out, it is going to affect someone. So you are just trying to check fact, and then you just never take the first answer. So that is going to be the creation diligent. You are just trying to work with care because you know that AI is not perfect. The same way human beings are not perfect, we shouldn't expect AI to give us the right results. Okay, so that is the creation diligence. The second one here is going to be the transparency. Okay, so for the transparency, all that it takes here is that you have to be honest about when and how you use the AI. Okay, that is one thing that we mostly missed. Okay, you have to be honest, you have to be diligent about when and how you used AI. Okay, so that is it for the transparency. You have to be transparent if you used AI or not. And then the last one is going to be the deployment diligence. So this one is, in simply terms, you are just trying to own the work. Okay, you are just trying to own the work. So even though you used AI, but because you've been able to fact check, because you've been able to work with care with the AI, because you've been able to delegate properly and do all sort of stuffs, at the end, the results that the AI gives to you, your task is to make sure you own the work or the response that the AI gives to you. So anytime you are sharing that work, we don't know if you used AI or not. So you are responsible for the final results. Okay. So one thing that we should also know is that the AI is a tool and not the author. Okay. So AI is the tool and not the author. So whatever you put your name on, you stay behind it. So you would have to make sure the response that you are getting from AI at the end, if you are supposed to submit an assignment, you would have to make sure that you own the work. Okay, so if you don't own the work, then that means that someone did the work for you and the AI is claiming the authorship. Okay, so yeah, any questions before we move on? We are almost done. We are about to conclude. So if you have any questions, make sure you type it in the chat and then we will be able to answer the questions for you. Okay, so before we move on, do we have something to say or do you have something to share on what I've discussed so far before we move on to the next one?
When sorry, you can proceed. Maybe I'll talk at the end.
Okay, all right. So now that we've been able to know the three ways that we can communicate with AI through automation, through augmentation, and then agency, and then we've been able to also know the 4D framework, which is delegation, description, discernment, and then diligence. Um, I'm confident that moving forward, we'll be able to use the AI in an appropriate way so that at the end, we'll be able to own our work. Okay. So now, based on what we've done so far, we are just going to have this quick comparison here. Okay. So we are going to look at a vague prompt and then a prompt that was built having the 4D framework in mind. Okay, so this is going to be like an example, right? So a vague prompt versus the one that was built with a 4D framework. Okay, so if we take a look at this on the screen, okay, we have this to be an example of a vague prompt. So anytime you open your chat GPT, all that you type is write a blog post about AI. So because your prompt here is vague, the response from the AI is also going to be vague. Okay, because one thing is it is missing a whole lot. One, it is missing the audience. Okay, so who is going to read this blog post that you're talking about? So you should make sure you include the audience inside the description or the prompt. But if you take a look at this prompt here, it is very vague. Okay, we are not redirecting it to any audience. It doesn't have any goal or any key points. It doesn't have like a tone that the AI should follow. It doesn't have like a format. It doesn't have a length. It is too generic. Okay, so if you give the AI this response, don't expect the AI to give you a right answer. If you give the AI a vague response, I mean a vague prompt, it is going to give you a vague response. And I know that for some of us, if anytime AI gives us the response that we don't want, we are mad. Okay, so the reason is it is not the AI's fault. Even we human beings, we make mistakes. Okay, so because the AI doesn't have our brain, so ChatGPT is not the brain of one person. I have ChatGPT on my laptop. Francis is also having his own ChatGPT. Ben is also having it. Thomas is also having it. We all have ChatGPT. So it is not using one brain. It is just a tool that is, I mean, that has been trained and then just learning from patterns. So the best way that you can get the response is to make sure you don't give it a vague prompt. Okay. So you can take a look at this screen that for the vague prompt, like it is having no audience, it has no goal. Like we were not able to delegate the tasks between AI and then ourselves. We just gave the prompt, write a blog post about AI, and then that was it. Okay, so this doesn't make sense. Okay, so let's move on to the one that we were able to build with the 4D framework in mind. Okay, so we can have this one to be the performance. So instead of rewriting something like write a blog post about AI, we were like, you are a friendly tech teacher for people new to AI. Okay, so keep a warm, simple tone. So in this case, we have the audience in mind, we have the goal, we know the tone that we want the AI to use, and then That's it. Okay, so we can see that from the right hand side here, for the same request, okay, but it is built properly, and how each part um, is doing a job. Okay, so as I already said, we have this to be the performance here, and then we also have the product. So for the product, it says that write a blog post about 600 words that introduces AI fluency. So you can see that this one here is not vague. At least we are able to sell something. We are trying to sell something. We are trying to incorporate all the 4D principles. Okay, we are just trying to delegate. We are trying to describe and all that. Okay, and then the last one here is going to be like if we try to compare the vague prompt and then the one that we were able to build with the 4D, we can see that there's a huge difference. If I give this prompt, the vague one to AI, it is going to give me a vague response. Okay, so if you are using a good model like Fable or Opus 5 or 4.8, if you give the AI like write a blog post about AI, it will go ahead and then ask you some questions in terms of the audience, the tone, and other stuffs. But one thing is not everybody have access to these great models. Okay, so most of us are using like the free version of ChatGPT. So we have to make sure we make good use of it. We have to make sure we describe it well using the 4D framework. Okay, so yeah, that is it about an example of a good prompt and then a bad prompt as well. Okay, so we are almost done, and I think we have like 20 or 19 slides. Okay, but this is going to help us to be able to put everything together. Okay, so before you prompt, okay, you would have to make sure you decide whether to use AI to do the work, or you and AI, you guys are going to collaborate to be able to achieve the same result, or you keep the work for yourself. Okay, so your prompt itself, that is the description, should make sure at least you know the kind of problem that you are solving. You know the goal that you want to achieve at the end. So if you have these in mind, anytime you are writing a prompt, it is going to give you a great response. But if you don't delegate well, you are going to get a very bad response. Okay, and at the end, it is not going to help you to become fluent in AI. So before you prompt, make sure you delegate well. Once you are done with the delegation, then you move on to apply the delegation to the description. So the description, even though the description is important, but one thing is you should be able to know the delegation by following how to use the various platforms, or the AI tool that you'll be using, the kind of problem that you are trying to solve, the goal that you want to achieve before you even start typing something inside your AI chat box. So that is one thing that we should also take into consideration. Without a good delegation, or without you being expert in your field, you will not be able to get a good answer from AI. Okay, irrespective of how powerful the AI is, if you don't have a good delegation, you'll not be able to have a good description. And once you're able to describe your stuffs into the prompt, it will give you a response that you want. Okay, so this time, if you are trying to discern after the AI has given you the response, even if it is not going to give you the exact thing you want, you can still tweak the prompt by following these 4D principles. Okay, so the delegation is very important. If you are not expert in your field, you cannot have a good prompt response. If you don't know the kind of problem that you are trying to solve, if you don't have the end goal in mind, you cannot have a good response. So that is one thing that we should also take into consideration. And anytime that you are sharing your results, moving back to the last one, which is the diligence, anytime you are sharing your response, you would have to make sure that you own the work. Okay, so anywhere that AI helped you, you can also try to add it into your research that, oh, AI helped me to do this or blah blah blah, and it is going to work well for you. Okay, let me see. So these are some of the examples of templates that you can use, and if you take a look at these examples, it is just basic. Okay, So draft an email. So you can just take this to be the prompt. But I don't want us to use this prompt because we want to follow the 4D framework to be able to make sure our response is good. Okay. So these are some of the template that you can reuse anywhere that you go. Okay. And then um, these are the stuff that I would want us to take with us. Okay. So AI, even though it is very popular than most of like the human beings that you know, but AI is just a tool. Okay, AI is just a tool. Even though like we have some powerful models that you can use that even you sometimes you are even surprised. But just have it in mind that AI is just a tool. Okay, it can still make mistakes. So anytime you are using AI, just treat the AI to be someone that you are working with. Okay, so if you are working with someone, you already have it in mind that that person can make mistakes. Okay, so just have that same in mind that okay, I'm working with an assistant, so AI can make mistakes. So anytime I'm going through the response from the AI, I'll not take the response to be 100%. I'm going to go through everything one by one and then make sure I get the response that I want before I decide to share it. Okay. So the next one here is going to be fluency. So we already discussed about the fluency, which means collaborating with AI in a way that is effective, that is efficient, ethical, and then safe to use. Okay, you should always make sure you have this in mind that anytime you want to be fluent in AI, you have to follow these four things. Okay, you having your response to be effective, efficient, ethical, and then safe to use. And then the third one is you'd have to work with AI. Okay, so don't just hand the task off to it. And as already mentioned, if you do that, you are going to make a big mistake. Try to collaborate with AI, try to work with AI to be able to get a good response. And then the last one here is anytime you want to type in something into your prompt, just have this 4D framework at the back of your mind: delegation, description, discernment, and then diligence. Okay, this is a whole workshop in 4 lines. So all the stuff that we've been talking about so far, even if you don't take anything home, just have this 4D framework at the back of your mind: delegation, description, discernment, and then diligence. Okay, so the delegation here means we already know it. We already know description, we already know discernment, and then we already know the diligence. So even if you don't take anything home, just make sure you take this home. Okay, the 4D framework. All right. So we were supposed to have a demonstration, but because of our time, we would like to reschedule it to another workshop. Okay, so that is all about the AI fluency. And then here is going to be my challenge to you. Make sure you pick one task this week and then just run it using the 4D framework principles. Just make sure you follow the steps and then try to see if the results that you get is good or not. Okay, so this is how this become like a habit rather than just a nice idea. So one thing is if you don't practice the 4D, it is not going to be a habit, okay, for you. Even though we have the idea to be great, but you'd have to make sure you keep on practicing following the 4D framework principles. If you don't follow it, or if you don't make it a habit every day to make sure you have this 4D in mind, you will just write a vague prompt and it is not going to help you. So let's make sure we put it into practice. And then if you have any questions, please make sure you type it in the chat box and then we'll be happy to respond to you. So yeah, thank you very much for your time, and I will yield back to my co-host if they have something to add or if they've seen any questions that they would want to answer in the chat box, they can also help to answer it. Yeah. So let me try here and then read some of the questions. Okay, so if the host can also help me answer some of the questions, I'll be very happy. Let me see. Okay, so we have the first question from Prince Amiel. Oh, I think Mr. Benjamin answered the question, and then yeah, I think most of the questions have been answered, right? Okay, so let me see again. Okay, so Mr. Benjamin was able to answer the questions, and then Mr. Francis was also able to answer the question about you making an AI analyze your own since it fetches data from extra sources. Okay, yeah, so that is going to be our next workshop. So our next workshop is going to be very practical. Okay, so we are going to open the AI, and then we are going to apply the 4D principles. And then once you're able to apply these 4D principles, you'll be able to know that AI isn't just a tool, it is something that we can also work with. Okay, so let me just go through the chat again and then see. Okay, from my boss, Daniel Amponsa. Okay, all right, so I think Mr. Franz also answered the question. Um, all right. So we have about 5 more minutes. So if you still have some questions, you can just put it in the chat box, and
There's a
then
question.
okay.
There's,
Wait, let me mute myself.
Godfred, that has not been answered. He was asking what some of the real world AI projects, examples of those that beginners can actually build. And so if you have any suggestions or if anybody can jump on that, that's fine.
That's fine.
Okay. So okay, so I'll just hop in, and then if Mr. Benjamin and Thomas and Mr. Francis also having the answer. So I think the project that you can build as a beginner is so I'll just talk from the software engineering perspective, right? So before AI started booming, all that we have to do was to use our HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then if you want to use the various framework like React, Nest, or like the Django's to be able to build websites, all that you have to do is to just write the code, and then it will just give you the output. Okay, and we don't have like huge interactions inside these particular applications. But now, because of AI, like AI is really changing the world. So any application that you build, okay. So for example, let me just use YouTube, okay, before I even start answering the question. So right now, if you go to YouTube, they are using AI behind the scenes to be able to predict like something like for you to be able to see based on the videos that you watched, right? So these are some of the applications that you can how do we call it, like you can use. So for a beginner project, I'm still thinking about it right now, and I think the best project that you can all the stuff that I'm having in mind is kind of advanced right now. um Louis, let me think for some seconds and see.
Um, Probably you could do a normal chat box where you can utilize these AI, open AI keys. You could probably have maybe GPT keys, and then you can build a normal chat box. But then you would need to have some form of coding experience with Python if you want to be calling these API keys from these models. So a normal chat box should be able to do where you put in a prompt, you get a response, and then you can chat in that regard. So I think a normal chat box should do for a beginner,
Okay,
just to see
so
how these models operate.
okay. Okay, so I think this is from the software engineering perspective, right? And I know that most of my audience are not coming from the software engineering background. So if you have like any general project that they can start with, I know that nowadays like AI is changing like the software engineering field and all. But do you have in mind any general project that anyone who is not a software engineer can build as well? I mean, if you have it in mind, because we have
Okay, so
oh, sorry.
let me come
Let me
in.
come in.
So I think
So I think
for beginners, from my experience, I think you can build maybe a document summarizer, like something which will turn long document into short or clear summaries. You see, like a basic form. You can also create like a email assistant which will help you maybe draft or improve or organize professional emails. It is like a general something. It is not even like a specific to like a specific domain. This is very general, or even like a study planner. And in fact, you can even ask the AI to suggest like a project ideas, like a simple project ideas. Then you can take it from there. You have to start small, test it with real users, and improve it step by step. So I think that's it.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Yeah. So these are some of the projects that any beginner can build. And one thing that we should also know is you don't have to know coding before you start using AI. Okay. Yeah. You just have to know like some few things like how it works behind the scenes, and then how you can be fluent, and then if you're able to follow these 4 steps, you'll be good to go. Because I know people, my boss for instance, he doesn't know how to code, right? He's not a programmer, but he is able to use AI. He's an AI evangelist. Okay, so one thing is you don't have to know, or you don't have to know how to program, or you don't have to know how to code before you become an AI expert. There are so many ways that you can use this AI to build projects. But if you are trying to go into the software side of things, any application that you build should be AI powered application. Okay, it should be an AI powered application. So for example, if you are having a website that people are able to go on and then book for an appointment for your business, you should be able to build an AI system into the application, so that even if you are not around, or even if you are asleep, the AI can respond to your client messages. If someone book an appointment, the AI would be able to communicate with them to be able to book it on your behalf. So that once you wake up, all that you have to do is to make sure you just check like your book, and then just schedule, and then just go do the work for them. Okay, you can also build an application that would be able to summarize, or would be able to respond your email messages for you. So for example, um, for some of us, every morning we would have to check our email, and then we are having like tens of thousands of replies from people. So all that you have to do is you can build an AI powered application that will be able to sort emails based on urgency, and then be able to reply or to respond to the emails, and then put it in drafts. So if you don't trust the email, if you don't trust the AI, just make sure the AI, you do it in a way that the AI will be able to respond to the email, and then once it is able to respond, it will just put it inside the draft. So the first thing that you do in the morning is to open your email, and then go to your draft, and then you'll be able to see all the responses from AI. And then once you like it, you just have to press send, and then it will just save you more time. So these are some of the projects that you can build. And as you can see, we are all coming from a software engineering side of things. So software engineering, data scientist, machine learning, we are all coming from that background. So it is very hard for us to give you guys the general applications that you can build as a beginner. Okay, so if you have any last questions, we can ask before we bring the video to the end.
I think there's
I think
one
there's
from
one from
asking how feasible it is using the free version of AI tools to solve tasks with the 4D method as compared to the paid versions. What I would say
what I would
about that,
say.
I think that's actually the best way to do it, because if you're able to, I mean, using these sort of like outlines that we've given you, or the guidelines that we've given you, with the 4D method, you are streamlining whatever kind of tool that you're using to focus more on sort of like accuracy and precision, because you do not want to waste tokens, especially if you're on the free version. And so I think for me it is the best. But if you also have, I mean, the financial capacity to get the paid versions, that gives you more tokens, because you do not want to be going back and forth with the AI tool that you're using. And so if you're able to follow the 4D framework, then you get sort of like accurate response, which are quite precise. And so that saves you that back and forth of having to go back and say, no, this is not what I asked you to do. Can you do it this way? Before you realize you hit your usage limit when you're on the free version. And so, yeah, following the 4D method essentially saves you, wastage of tokens for that. So I think it's a good way to practice that.
No, so there are local models that you can have them running on your machine, like Olama. So you wouldn't have to spend much time subscribing to GPT. And these local models are exceptionally good if you want to harness them for writing, for research, and what have you. So you don't necessarily have to have the best model for to get the best output, but then based on what you give it, based on the prompts that you give to the AI, you can equally utilize the local models that can run on your machine to get the same outputs that you want from these ChatGPT and cloud as well.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, thank you guys for your response. Okay, so at this juncture, we want to thank everyone for, unless you have like any last questions, but I'm still going through the chat box and I'm not seeing any questions. So yeah, we want to thank you guys for um, joining today's live sections. Even though we were able to go beyond our time, we sincerely apologize for that. And I'll be, for those of you who were able to register for this live show, I will be sending the PDFs to you guys. If you have any questions, you can just email us or you can also talk to us. I don't know if it's okay for we to give you guys our numbers, but we can give you guys the numbers through the email so that you can privately chat us and then we can give you all the responses that we have. So our next workshop is going to be more practical and maybe we'll just tackle something about how you can you can use AI to like apply for jobs, how you can like automate AI in your job section and other stuff. And Mr. Benjamin is like a senior AI engineer, so he can help you with that one. Yeah, but in terms of like automation, that is where sorry, in terms of agency, right? So we learned that we have automation, augmentation, and then agency. So the AI like world is now moving towards the agency way or the agency world. So we'll be doing more workshops on that. But the next one is going to be maybe how you can apply for jobs, how you can apply for schools using AI, and we are going to follow the 4D principles. And then we'll just give you guys the prompt that you can use, and we are going to do like a live video for you guys to see. So hopefully, like this week, my team and we are just going to gather something and then give you guys a video on how you can connect. We call something MCP, which I know the AI gurus knows of it. So we call something MCP. We are going to learn how we can connect our MCP to either ChatGPT or Claude or any AI tool that we want, and then the AI will be able to apply for jobs on our behalf. Okay, so all that we have to do is to make sure we configure it once, and then based on our information, that is the resume, our cover letter, and everything, the AI will be able to apply for jobs or apply to schools for us without even us knowing. So that is going to be our next video here. And then I don't know when our next workshop is going to be because we are all busy and it's very hard for you to get like these people here. They are all busy. So hopefully like next month, somewhere next month, we are going to meet again and then we will give you guys all the tips that we know. But next week, I'm also like releasing a video on how you can connect your MCP to any AI tool to be able to help you to apply for jobs as well. So I don't know if Mr. Benjamin, Mr. Francis, or Mr. Thomas have something to say before we end this live. But I would want to thank you guys for your time and everything.
Yeah, so the last tip that I would give, or the last trick, is you can usually or most often of times utilize AI to leverage some of the hard things that you do in terms of job automation, in terms of responding to emails. So I personally I do work on multiple projects in my code base. So I have an automation framework that on every Friday it gathers information that I have done or projects that I've completed, and then it drafts it as my weekly report. So instead of having to figure out what did I do this week, what do I need to report, I literally have a system that goes through my code base, track what I have done, and then write that as a weekly report. So mostly, it's all based on what you need and how you can leverage AI to do that. I know most of you are looking out for how to get schools that sponsors. Somewhere last year, I literally automated the entire school application process, right from an AI searching for schools based on my domain to reaching out to professors and even replying professors back. It's all based on how you'll be able to utilize these harness. And I think in the coming times, we'll be able to put together practical ways you can set these things out to utilize them in your day-to-day application. So please stay tuned to the channel. Make sure you invite others to, learn as you also learn as well. So, yep, thank you all for joining.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Benjamin. Thank you, Mr. Francis. Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Without you guys, this wouldn't have been possible. So thank you very much. And I would also want to thank my audience for also taking time to join this wonderful workshop. So we'll be giving you guys more workshop as time goes on, okay? Yeah. So thank you guys very much. And then see you another time. Bye.